Hey guys, welcome back to the Hustlr show. If you noticed, we were called Wunderbath previously, but right now we've rebranded. You can call us the Hustlr Podcast now. And on today's show, I will be interviewing Miss Evelyn Marietta from Wunderbath.
Hello.
And that's W-U-N.
It's Wunderbath.
Wunderbath. I'm sorry, right? So it's W-U-N-D-E-R-B-A-T-H. Okay, for those of you listeners, because we're also shooting this on video. So Evelyn is one of the most successful young female entrepreneurs in Malaysia.
Thank you so much.
Completely self-made, which is freaking amazing. And I think she will be able to bring a lot of inspiration as well as actionable tips to our audience on either on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast. Okay, so I suggest if you're starting your own side hustle, I want you to stay to the end of this episode because I believe there will be a lot of actionable insights and tips that Evelyn can share with you guys. Okay, so let's start with this. Evelyn, tell us a bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I started the brand about 4 years ago. So that time I was still working as a food scientist. So my degree was nutrition and food science. So it has a lot of manufacturing, QC and product development kind of background. But then I've always loved cosmetics. So that time I was walking in the mall and I couldn't find this particular thing that I've been finding all over the place in Malaysia, but I can only find it like say in US. So I have to bring it over. That is a lip balm with color. You know, like in Malaysia, color means pink, soft pink kind of color. So I'm like, you know what, I want something funky, like purple and whatnot. Now I realized that actually natural products in Malaysia catered more to the matured audience. It's not to the younger generations.
Right.
So
mature audience meaning like
like housewives, like maybe mothers. They want very simple packaging, simple products. But for the younger audience, also maybe like students or college students, young adults, they want something quirky, they want something fun but yet natural at the same time. So I started tinkering around, then I found that, hey, you know what, I can make it on my own. Yeah, I tried to OEM, but then the MOQ is crazy. And I'm like, never mind, I'm just gonna start by doing it on my own.
Right, because since you've already, you already have the knowledge, right? You work as a food scientist, you know how all these raw materials work, how they come together to create something, correct? So, which is really awesome. For those of you, like, check this out, telur mata.
This is so actually I brought this, it's because the lip balm aside, right, I got this is the first design that I did. So I created this actually to prank my husband.
I see.
So my family, like dinner time, right, my family gathering all around, and after that I served this to him, then he almost ate it, but he didn't. But then after that, he's like, you never cook eggs so perfect, you always burn your eggs.
So
this must not be eggs, what is this, So you kind of know that I'm tinkering with cosmetics, then only I told him, oh, you know what, it's soap. Then my whole family laughed like crazy. Then everybody got so excited. That's how I was like, my aha moment, oh my gosh, I should really sell this kind of soap. Yeah.
Right. So you actually, this was your first ever design that you've created on your own.
Yes.
This egg, and it's still you're still selling this.
I'm still selling this. Yeah.
Wow, how interesting. Is this like? I mean, it's quite dangerous, Like, what if people actually eat it? Would there be any?
Well, we have this disclaimer at the back to say, do not eat. So if you eat, that's your, you can't call us, and because we're like, we put it there.
Right. So what other interesting designs? I see this really localized.
Yeah, so actually a lot of our products are really local. We have lip balms in the flavor of durian, teh tarik, syrup rose, and then ice kacang. But I know maybe some of the listeners are not from here, right? We also have lemon meringue pie, molten chocolate, So we do really crazy, quirky kind of design. But I brought this because I know you like coffee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just brought this for you. Yeah.
I see, thank you so much. Because this is for those of you who are watching, sorry to listeners who can't really see this, but this is actually a very traditional way of drinking coffee or drinking milk tea within Malaysia, and like the really old generations, like the old audience would actually really appreciate something like this, which is super interesting.
Yeah, and you can reuse the cups and the saucer after you're done with the candles, you know?
Right. So this is an aromatic candle,
Yes.
coffee flavored, I'm assuming.
Caramel coffee flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
Super interesting. So, just to share a bit on your journey as well. You started this. When was this? When did you make your first ever egg?
My first ever egg, it was, I think, in June 2014.
Right.
Yeah, so it was quite long ago. Then we launched in 2015, which is in May.
Okay.
Yeah, so at that time, actually, we launched. Initially, you know what, I kept on tinkering, you know. I have this whole load of information, you know, I don't know what to do. Then I'm like, suddenly, a bazaar person called me, and then he's like, hey, you know what, I have this bazaar space that we want to sponsor you. Do you want to come in and just sell your pre-love?
How did these people find you in the first place?
I think it was a friend of a friend at that time, because I was modeling on the side. Then he was like, hey, you know what, why don't you just come in, sell your pre-love clothes and those things that you don't want anymore, you know, we give you the booth.
Right.
Then I'm like, wow, actually I have another thing to sell, you know. They said, oh, what are you selling? Well, like soaps and lip balms. Like, oh, okay, sure, you know. Yeah.
Right.
So I went there. The bazaar is like full of, you know, like some sort of celebrities, and they have clothes, they have all these amazing things, and here I am with, I don't even have a trolley, you know.
Right.
So literally my husband like hooked a piece of wood on a strap. So we were like logging that strap. Yeah,
Right.
It's crazy lah.
Right,
Yeah.
so that was the beginning, like the hustle, you know. Like,
Yes.
Did you have any, financial backing or anything when you just started this?
No, I didn't at all. But then with this business also, I think the most expensive equipment that I had at that time, right, was my mixer, which cost me 250 ringgit.
Right. Is it the same kind of mixers where you used to make, say, bread dough or?
Yeah, so it's the one with the handle. So it's just like the immersive blender, they call it. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the only thing, and the rest of the money I spend it on the ingredients.
I see, on raw materials.
On
and
raw
stuff.
materials. So those kind of money you can get back later.
Yeah, because
but
it's all, putting in to earn later.
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I'm sure, it didn't get to where it was, right off the bat,
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
Right. So in the beginning, starting out is always the toughest, right?
Yes.
So can you share some of the things that you've personally gone through, like when you just started out, how to, when you're hustling,
Yeah.
right? You're not really drawing any profits out of the business, and you're just, pushing and just trying to make it grow. Like what was your journey like? Maybe we can share with our audience.
Starting out, actually, MOQ, it's one of our biggest hurdle, because those who are familiar with making your own products or cosmetics or food, right? Every supplier have their own MOQ. So actually I have to plan my cash flow really well so that we can buy certain ingredients at a better price, because my vision is always, the products has to be affordable.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't want to charge people, like 40 ringgit for a piece of soap, which people are charging at that kind of price. So I'm like,
So 40 ringgit is about
40
10
ringgit,
US dollars
yeah.
for all you international
Yes.
listeners, okay?
I think slightly below 10 US dollars.
Yeah.
But we are selling our soap at about, at most is 20 ringgit, which is
It's about 4.9.
yeah, which I think is a fair amount for soaps. So we just have to tinker a little bit with the raw material supplies. How can we batch everything up together? How can we be more lean, less wastage, So the stickers also come with an MOQ. So actually earlier on in our days, we print our own and cut it ourselves. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, just to get started,
Just to
because
get
otherwise
started, right?
you will never get started. Yeah.
Right. Turn one day to day one.
Yeah, just day one first.
Yeah, day one first, okay?
Day one. Take it one day at a time.
So what would you say is the biggest breakthrough, when it comes to your business, your hustle? Like, when did you see, oh my God, like I should really, really start focusing on this and really, really grow it? When is the big break, or like the...
Actually, when I started, I think I was really naive. So even though I don't know a lot of things, right? I'm like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna be a millionaire, like those kind of things. But I'm still doing it so by hand. I'm a one-man operation. But earlier on, I already have that kind of mentality. I'm gonna just do it. I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Right.
Yeah. But I think my turn point, it was when the bigger brands started calling us to collaborate.
Because
Hey,
you're
know
doing something
what?
interesting in the market, you're attracting
Correct.
attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's very
So
valuable.
they're like, oh, we want to buy something, can you custom for us for one of their events? Now I'm like, wow, I'm such a small potato, and these bigger brands want to work with me. So at that time it was like, wow, I serve them like crazy, like.
That must be one of the best feelings in the world, right?
Yes.
Being recognized by
Yeah.
really huge brands, and they
Correct,
really want to
yeah.
work with you.
And it's not just the media, because you do get a lot of those interviews, invites and all those. But then that doesn't guarantee your success, right? Because if the bigger brands want to spend money, then that is the indicator that you're doing something right. It's when people want to spend money.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but personally, I have this view that if a startup or a business is getting a lot of press, like they're actively going out hustling for press, mentions and all that, they're typically not doing very, very well. Because
Oh, really?
yes, in my perception, yes, because
Yeah.
they're trying to get attention, but no one is paying them. And once most of the successful side hustles I see are those that of course you do your PR in the beginning, you get the initial buzz, but later on they tend to focus on their own business, growing their business, servicing their clients. They're spending resources running a business rather than getting so much attention that doesn't translate to revenue at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you prefer to have more of a lot of press and less revenue, or you get brands calling you because of something they like what you're actually doing, something interesting?
I would have to disagree on that, because I think as a small brand with very little marketing budget, I take every freebies I can get.
Right.
So even like the small magazine, or maybe like not small, maybe like they're just starting out, or any sort of press, be it very small, like this, this podcast, I'll take it, because people spend a lot of money to get on a magazine. So if that magazine want to cover me for nothing at all, I'm so thankful. I treat them really well. I give them products. Yeah, so I think
that makes a lot of sense.
Like hustler, right?
Hustler, yes, hustler.
Hustler. You must get everything, because who knows, right? Because it's a ripple effect. So people who read this magazine, for example, they are on a dentist appointment. They flip the magazine, they saw you, and so happen on that day they are looking for that kind of particular product, and they're gonna call you. So it's the kind of thing, because I don't have budget to run radio ads or like TV ads. Yeah.
Right. So PR is a free way to hustle for more attention from the public as well.
But having said that, you will only get free PR in the beginning of your business.
Right.
Yeah. Eventually, you're gonna come to a point where you're like, maybe I should start spending
on marketing,
then you throw in money, and then you evaluate whether that brings you sales or not. Then you must be really stingy.
Right.
Because then you want to see whether you get the sales or not. Yeah.
So the lesson here is that when you're just starting out, hustle and leverage on other people's connections.
Leverage, that's
leverage,
the right word.
right? Because when, like for example, when I just started my business, I had nothing, right? But I wanted a booth inside an exhibition. So what we did was we told the organizers, hey, do you need a video guy who will come in, shoot like some videos for your event, but in exchange, give us a free booth and give us access to your email list.
Wow.
So,
I'm taking notes, you guys.
So, there's all these ways where you can trade your time, your hustle, for an effect that you want for your business. It's not always about, you don't actually need $1 million to start a business. My parents always tell me stuff like, hey, you're not ready, you don't have money to start a business. But I feel the best way to learn and grow is actually just make it work.
Yes. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, people throw at you, you just have to just freaking make it work.
Yes, we can make it work.
Yes. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons here, right? So let me see. So I also did some research. Like most of Wunderbath's products are mostly handmade, right? How do you scale production to meet up with demand as your business grows? Because I can't, the founder can't be, creating these products.
Yeah. So what I realized, thankfully with my degree, right, then I learned how to manufacture, QC and whatnot. So my focus is really on the product creation, that means R&D. So I spend a lot of my time in R&D. But later on, once the production stabilizes, we do an SOP for each product that my, my manufacturing team, they can just follow easily.
To create the product as you created it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Then after that we have QC and whatnot to just monitor so that everything has a standard quality and that we can trace back what ingredient that we use for this particular batch. I think it's a very standard thing for manufacturers. Yeah. But I'm not sure whether a lot of handmade manufacturers out there do that, because we do sometimes, certain ingredients from our supplier turns out to be, not in a certain way that we want it. Yeah, not consistent. So we can pinpoint to which batch that we send that to, then we can just have a recall easily.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that kind of manufacturing background, it's quite important to have. Yeah.
I see. So like personally, I have absolutely no manufacturing background.
Okay.
I'm a marketer through and through, right? So
that's good actually.
I think there's good and bad, right? Sure. I tend to rely on other people in terms of like business partners in terms of manufacturing, but can you just share a little bit more? Do you have systems that govern all these things to make sure, everything is, everything comes out to be what you want it to be, right? Because if you get a team in, SOP, and then there's all these ad hoc things like raw materials being inconsistent, it's going to affect product quality, right?
Correct.
So what kind of stuff do you have to, circumvent these issues?
The most important thing with cosmetics is bacteria. To me personally, like I cannot have microbial contamination. So we do, like just good manufacturing practice. People come in, they must dress up a certain way. They cannot be dirty. They have to wear hand nets and lab coats and whatnot. Right. But with the product, the practice is always, like you just test a few samples randomly. Then you can actually count the probability of, how many percent of the product is good, or, what is the probability that the product is good. If you test a few selected random
also
samples.
Sample testings and stuff, right?
And we also do retain sample batches. For example, if let's say it never happened to us before, but if say a customer say, hey, you know what, your product, causing this and that, we can trace back to the sample batch and do more testing.
So for every batch that you produce, you have an archive of the samples of that batch.
But it's not like we will keep it forever and ever,
Right.
Usually we just keep it until the best before date. Yeah.
I see. That's very interesting. I did not know that. Okay. So so can you just share with me some of your thinking behind creating products like this? What sets you apart, other than of course the creativity? What about the raw materials that you use? Like how would you differentiate yourself from other soap makers in terms of?
Okay, so how I differentiate myself is that I'm always aware that I am a chemist first, or maybe product R&D specialist first before a designer, right?
Right.
So the ingredients has to be super good, and the ingredients has to be tested. I have to work with my suppliers. So I think what differentiates us is that knowledge of how to create product, with extracts that have scientific benefits. Suppliers from all over the world.
Right.
So the claims that we can make, like some people just throw in claims saying that their product perhaps like organic and whatnot, but maybe
1% organic.
Maybe how many percent organic, or are you USDA certified? So those kind of things. Yeah.
Right. So I was in the food industry before, and like all these regulatory bodies, they are very, very specific
Yeah.
Like say you need to have 4% of organic materials before
Yeah.
you can claim organic.
Correct.
For example, right?
And USDA and the French organic body may have a different certification also. Like different requirements for your product to be called organic. But we don't claim that our product is organic, but we do use certain organic ingredients. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So, why do you why do you care so much about making a product that is beneficial for people? Is it because of a market gap? Is it because there are other people not doing this? I mean, are the big players not doing this? Like say Procter and Gamble, Unilever.
Well,
and stuff?
I think better not to comment, but
right.
but for me, I think to be sustainable, right, you must have impact.
Right.
Right, no? Because if people buy your products and they are indifferent about it, how likely
They're
are
just
they
using it
gonna,
as a soap.
Yeah, to come back again and purchase your product.
Right.
And even the ribbon has to be tied in a certain way. I always tell my team, what is the standard? You have to follow Wunderbath standard. The ribbon cannot be loop-sided and whatnot, because it will say about the background of the company, how important quality is to our company. Yeah, but I think impact is one of the major things. We even have, customers that purchase our body butter. From 4 years ago, they were one of my first customers. I remember them because I used to pack it myself and write on
the airway bills and stuff,
and all
right?
those. Then now they still buy it. They will see me in the shop. They're like, oh, you know what? We are still using your butters. Every time they come to the shop, they will buy like 10 jars. Yeah. So I think that will give me the kind of. That's all I'm looking for in the business.
Right.
Yeah, that's like the validation.
So a lot of people nowadays, when they start businesses, they're always thinking about making money. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yes, it's a part of doing business. You have to be profitable to have a sustainable business. But I think first and foremost, what you said is very, very correct. You want to impact and provide value to your customers, and then the profits will come.
Yes,
Right.
but it's hard to say that when you're just starting out, because you're like probably drowning, gasping for air. But I think everybody has an area that, like, it's their calling, For
Right.
you, maybe it's teaching, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it has always been cosmetics.
Right.
Yeah, so it's for me to I just have to make it within this industry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think a lot of people, they say, hey, there's so many startups out there. Everyone's raising like millions and millions of dollars, doing billions of revenue and billions of losses.
Yeah.
And I feel that in the media these days, that's all that's being covered most of the time. So what I'm trying to do on this show is actually to inspire people, to show people that you can create something out of nothing. You don't need funding. You just need to put in your time and hustle, right?
Yeah.
So my perspective might be a little bit different from you, but so I want to check with you, like also for the benefit for our audience, what are if you had to just choose three most important skills that you need to have to start a side hustle?
So many skills that I can think of, but I think hustling, whatever it is, you just have to make it and realize that although money is really important, but do realize that there's a calling for you, an area for you that you will thrive in.
Right.
So
everyone has an expertise.
Everyone
somewhere.
has an expertise, because if you're just chasing money somewhere else, maybe as a banker you can make money as a banker, maybe you won't be as happy, or feel proud with what you have accomplished. Just find that area that that you truly thrive in.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with your talents, If you're really good in talking, you're super good in talking, right? So maybe that's why you're a teacher now. Yeah.
Yeah, still improving, still trying to improve.
And second, I think is to learn as quickly as possible. Yeah, because I don't know about I saw a lot of founders, they're like, oh, you know what, we are not good with social media, we're just gonna hire. And they are maybe 1 year into the business and they are paying people month in and month out for people to just post on social media. So I think the mindset to always learn and to always say, you know what, if I can do it myself, I'm gonna try to do it myself first until later on in the business where I can delegate that to someone else.
Correct.
Yeah.
So okay, number one, just to take it back a step,
Yes.
right? The first step is basically knowing your strengths and then
Yes.
abusing your strengths,
Yeah.
right? The second one would be to learn fast,
Yes.
right? And in my personal opinion, I learned so much when I
Yeah.
started my own business because problems just keep
Definitely.
coming, but every time you solve that problem, you learn something new, right? And also on your point of delegation,
Yeah.
I feel that you're only as good. No, the person that you hire can only be as good as you.
Definitely.
Because if
yeah.
you don't know anything about a particular subject, that person could be one of the worst social media managers in the world, but he would still pass on.
Yeah, because you don't know
Because
what
you
is
don't know,
good.
you don't know
Yeah.
what is good. You don't know how to judge that person. So I think it's very, very important to at least pick up some knowledge before you delegate.
And I think a lot of companies made a mistake of hiring salesperson, thinking that the salesperson can do a really good job in pushing sales, right?
Right.
But they themselves don't know how to close the deal.
Right.
So every founder must know how to close a deal.
Right.
Otherwise, your salesperson, they'll be like, oh, I don't know what I'm
They don't know
doing,
how to sell your product
Yeah.
because you would know your product best.
Exactly.
Right? You would know your business best. You would know how
Yeah.
to position your sales messaging and stuff like that you can pass on to your students. So yes, sales.
Sales.
So would sales be your third most powerful
Maybe I
strength?
can squeeze one more.
Yes. Go
So I
on.
think the last one, you may agree with me here. I think it's PR. Yeah, PR has saved me so much. Word of mouth, the kind of the ripple effect that people have when they chat with one another.
Especially
I think
nowadays,
PR is really good. Yeah,
PR is translates to a lot of social media presence.
exactly.
And also
yeah.
as a side hustle when you're just starting out, if you have something interesting, PR I think is one of the best
Yeah.
avenues to get your initial traction going, to get the initial attention,
Yeah.
right? But as your business grows, PR, unfortunately, I don't think it's very, very scalable as a revenue generating marketing channel.
So the PR has to be organic.
Correct. Like
Yeah.
people come and find you. You can go out and pitch
Yeah.
also in the beginning because you're nobody. Nobody
Correct.
knows you.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about you. You want to go out and reach out to press, to bloggers, to publications that cover
Yeah. To
your
other
story.
founders, it can also be like that, right? Actually, some of the best ideas of my business that I have is just by talking to other founders like you. Remember we met in my house?
Correct.
And we were slightly tipsy, but we exchange ideas, right? I think that kind of PR is one of the best. Because
Right.
then you just, you get a fresh perspective on what your business should be. And then, in the same time, you share your burden, share your happy moments with another person, So I think I always like to have a meeting at least with one founder of another business,
Yeah.
If they don't believe in your business, if they're like, you know what, I don't believe in your business, I think it's handmade, it will fail eventually, just take that in and then just process it and, try to
Think about
think
why
about
they're saying
Yeah.
these things and then see what you can do to improve your business maybe if that person is more experienced or anything.
yeah.
So that's exactly the reason why I'm starting this show. I want people to be able to access all these conversations,
Yeah.
all these discussions about side hustles, about how to improve and grow your business.
You're
from the
doing a
different-
really good job. I learned
Would
from
you-
the get-go, man, from
With-
episode 1.
with
Is it
ju-
lesson 1 or episode 1?
Just to digress a little bit,
Yeah.
I have an online course and Evelyn is one of my
Yes.
students, right? And but on top of that, we're also creating a free show like this one and also a podcast where people can just
Yeah.
come in and learn, right? Because I also believe in impact. I think the more people your business can help,
Yes.
the more money you will make at the end of the day.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
money should not be your primary driver, especially when you're
Yes.
building you're trying to build a sustainable company, right? But when you're just starting out, it's a little bit hard to think that far, I think. So in the
Exactly.
beginning,
Yeah.
try to make it work. Make some money out of it and then think about what your business represents.
Yeah. And what you are looking for, essentially, like for me, it's the creative freedom and maybe the freedom to create and make a living out of it. But maybe for you, you know.
Hey guys, I apologize. We had a technical issue. Our camera ran out of memory, so we missed quite a few good moments. But we're gonna recap and then just touch on a few things, because I really feel that there's a lot of valuable insights and some tips in there that can really help you. Okay, so let's just start off with this again.
Yes.
So, Evelyn, if this is for our audience who's just starting out, right? And because I totally believe in learning from other people's mistakes rather than making those mistakes yourselves, to save money.
Right.
So I want to ask you, if you could start Wunderbath all over again from day one, from you made your first egg, what would you do differently?
I would have signed up with Mula Boss first, so that to save me some time. He didn't pay me to say that, but I think that is the wise thing to do, because you will save at least 3 months, computing all of these small little details. But I think in my products per se, I would create more specific products to solve people's problems. Because even with the fried egg, it was something quite selfish, because I thought it was funny, my family thought it was funny, but it might not solve a person's problem. So right now, what we're doing differently is we engage with our customers, find out their pain points, and try to create products to solve their issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying here is that instead of creating a product that makes you happy,
exactly,
that it comes from a very selfish nature. You're not actually solving a problem for the market.
Yes.
So you find out the problem and then solve that problem instead. But to make it more actionable, what exactly do you do to find out these problems to solve? Yeah.
So usually what I do is I try to get problems and pain points. I always start with problems, not even an idea, because the moment you put an idea to it, you are already basically saying, I'm gonna do this.
You're biased.
Yeah.
Right.
But now let's try with pain points. Let's say for you, what are your pain points? In what aspect can I solve that pain points of yours? So I always start with that, and then I have a sort of a general idea, and then I validate it from the market. So that's what I usually do.
Right. So because a lot of people out there, a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, aspiring hustlers out there, they think like an idea is cool. So they spend 20,000-30,000 ringgit to develop it.
Yeah.
Right? But then nothing sells. And I can attest to this, because last time I started a t-shirt business.
Yeah.
Right? I printed. I mean, me and my friends, like my co-founders at that time, we created like these manly t-shirt designs that we thought was super cool, and we printed thousands of each design. We had only 4 designs, if I remember correctly, and we sold about 8 or 9 in total until we had to shut down the business. And you see, that's also because we felt that our idea is cool enough for the market, but you cannot start a business from a selfish standpoint like that.
Exactly.
So after that, I became smarter. I learned my lesson. I was put in a horrible position, and I started, creating MVPs or like leaner versions of the product, like getting people to pre-order, for example, or like you pre-sell something, just to gauge the demand before committing so much resources into developing a product that people might not want. Right? Is that correct?
Correct. And I also find that a lot of youngsters nowadays, even beginner entrepreneurs, they always get so worried that their idea might get stolen.
Right.
Do you have that? Your friend, don't tell anybody, but I'm gonna launch this soon, don't tell anybody, you swear, I had an email from somebody last time, it's really funny. So she's like, I have an idea to discuss with you. This is somebody I absolutely have no idea who is this person. So she just like cold email me, and then she's like, but I want to see what you think about my idea, but I'm gonna ask you to sign an NDA. Yeah. So I'm like, an idea is actually just an idea.
I think that's a very, very traditional mindset, if you ask me, because if you're so afraid of your idea being stolen, I mean, I think that good ideas are plentiful in the market.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
good execution
Yeah.
is what makes a business a business.
Yeah.
Right? So even if you have a great idea, personally, I would share it with my closest friends, who
Yes.
I think very highly of. I
Yeah.
would share it with them, bounce my idea off them, and really spur proper organic conversations like this one.
Yes.
You know, rather than being selfish. Oh, this person's gonna steal my
Yeah.
idea. You know, because if you have a good idea, you go out to the market, people can still copy you.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it's about who has the better business, who
Yeah.
serves the customer better. It's not about the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if idea was so important, Friendster would still be around.
Exactly. I was just getting there.
And you know, MySpace would still be around and
Yeah.
Facebook would be nowhere, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I feel that you shouldn't be stingy with your idea.
Yeah.
I feel that you should be sharing with,
and you
especially
always
with
have
people.
to validate it, you know. So
Correct.
say get as many sample population as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, share with your friends, your family.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, some people say that I'm a good marketer, but
I think
if
you're
it-
an amazing marketer.
Thank you. But if you ask me if this product would sell or
Yeah.
not, I wouldn't know
Yeah.
until you go to market and
Yeah.
test it out, right? So it's very, very important to take the first step. You know, back to, again,
Yeah.
just getting it out there. You don't, and a lot of people tend to, you know, focus so much on perfection. When they
Yes.
launch something, they want it to be extremely presentable,
Yeah.
perfect, like it's developed by Apple.
Yeah.
But the thing is, not everyone is like Apple.
Exactly.
Instead, you should be going out to the market, fail, learn, and then relaunch.
Yeah.
Like, so you also mentioned before we got cut off earlier,
Yeah.
you also mentioned that, you know,
You can relaunch many, many, many times.
you don't have to be afraid of failing. And, you know, if you're small, you launch, you fail, nobody's gonna give a shit.
And in fact, actually launching product launches are one of the best way to get sales because
Correct.
you create a buzz, right?
You create the
Yeah.
buzz, you can create more press, you
Yeah.
can create virality, people start talking about
Yeah.
you. So actually launches should be done over and over again. It's not like
Exactly.
oh, you launch your business once and
Yeah.
that's it. You know, you want to launch, fail, learn,
Yeah.
relaunch.
Yeah.
Relaunch in a better way, right? So that's all like super interesting. So I want to go a bit into your personal life a little bit also, right?
Okay.
I've done some research, you know,
Yeah.
you also, you work as a model, as an MC as well. So how do you juggle all this? Like, I'm a firm believer of, you know, identifying that one thing and going all out in doing that one
Yeah.
thing, right? But I also see a lot of hustlers out there doing multiple things at once and achieving success in a lot of different areas. So maybe you want to share a little, you know, some productivity tips for some of our audience who's, you know, working a full-time job but starting a side hustle, how to manage their time properly.
My tip will be to be realistic and to have a common goal. You know, for example, I'm doing modeling, emceeing, but what I'm getting out of it is actually, you know, how to present yourself in public, because that has always been my weakest point.
Right.
Yeah, I used
You
to
seem
be
to be
really
doing
shy.
a pretty good job.
Well, thank you. It's after many, many failures and trials, you know, but before that, I'm so scared of getting into the public, talking to a new person, you know. So I felt even with emceeing, then I can get to learn how to do public speaking. So it's not just a job per se that I'm doing it just for the money,
Right.
but also evaluate your time wisely. So I did that actually about 2 years ago. Then I found out that actually I'm not going anywhere in
With
terms
modeling?
of modeling, right? No way am I gonna ever become a Heidi Klum, for example, or you
Right.
know, Kate Moss.
Why do you think so though? Just curious.
The hype, you know, I think maybe I'm too old, right? Because in modeling scene, you know, you have like a maximum age sort of, unless that is really what you want to do, then you pursue it like crazy. But for me, I know that that is not my goal.
Right.
So every moment I spend on it, fighting for it, I'm wasting my time. So I realized that I just cut it off. Yeah.
So know your priorities, where you
Yes.
want to be, where do you see yourself developing,
Exactly.
and then focusing your time on these
Yeah.
things. So you also mentioned before we got cut off earlier
Yeah.
that you had a fear of public speaking,
Yeah.
but you seem to be doing fantastic.
Thank
so
you
can you
very
just tell me, like, you know, the journey
Yeah.
and the thinking maybe behind improving yourself in such a rapid manner?
I would say that like even 5 years ago, I'm a terrible public speaker, you know, or maybe like backwards some more, like 10 years ago, I used to be so terrified of the stage. There was once that I really want to prove myself, you know, I practiced many times. I get up on the stage, my card was all jumbled.
What was this for?
That was for just like a presenting kind of job.
Right.
It should be really easy, you know, but I went up on the stage, I can feel like my blood is flowing all to my face and my cards are all jumbled and I just don't know what to say. Then I'm like, okay, that is not my strong suit, but I think public speaking is one of the skill that I have to pick up. So I was really relentless and I just went for it. I take on every public speaking stint, sometimes, you know, earlier on without any pay at all. Or if I just meet one person, I just talk to them, you know. Although I'm very shy, I feel like I have nothing good to say maybe, or like nothing interesting, or what if it's really awkward, right?
Yeah.
But I just go out there and I'm like, hi, you know, I'm Evelyn, nice to meet you, you know, because I need to connect. So that was my goal, to connect with people.
Right.
Yeah, so after many years, it's quite amazing for me to like, you know,
So
like
you did
speak
see
so
like a
fluently
huge
like that. Yeah.
transformation within
Yeah.
yourself over the past 5 years, just because you decided to just go out there
Go for it. Yeah.
and improve and hustle, you know, even if it's a
Yeah.
free gig, you know, you just
Yes.
go there just to improve yourself.
And this was before my business, before Wunderbath.
Right.
But I always try to imagine, you know, what if I started Wunderbath not having this skill to do public speaking? I think it would be crazy, right? That people will invite you to speak and then you'll be like, hi, you know, like you don't know what to say. Yeah, so I'm really thankful. So if public speaking is one of your fear, just go out there because everybody can eventually speak, you know?
Right.
Who can't speak? Everybody can.
So when you just started Wunderbath, do you have this similar fear when you know before you quit your job, or do you have you know, like some anxiety that might be stopping you from taking the leap in the beginning?
Yeah, definitely, because it's like, what if it fails? You know, even going to the bazaar, right? Pulling my, I don't know, the makeshift trolley.
Yeah.
You know, I laying out all these weird looking products on the table. And I'm like, what if everybody laugh at me? What if nobody buy? But I think if I didn't put myself out there and try, I would never know. Yeah, I would never know that it can grow into something that I can do it full time comfortably.
I think when it comes to that, okay, I think it's very normal to experience fear and anxiety, especially if you're doing it for the first time. Okay, like all entrepreneurs have faced this before. I guarantee this.
Yes.
Okay, and I think the most important thing to tell yourself is, or rather to ask yourself is, what is the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
You know, if you think in that context, you
Yeah.
would think that, you know, what if people laugh at me
Yeah.
when you presented like fried eggs and, you know, like a coffee candle.
Yeah. A lot of people laugh actually. Then they buy.
You see? So that, you know?
Yeah.
So what's the worst thing that could happen? People laugh at you. But that's pretty much it. You know, you don't have to beat yourself up and just let it run. The scenario keep running all over your head, and then you just think, oh my god, what if it fails? But you didn't think, what's the worst that can happen? So if you're stricken by this fear, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And that could be one of the strongest motivators for you to get started and start taking action.
But
also.
with that being said, if you have that fear comes really naturally, right? Then always have a backup plan.
Right.
I think that is one of the easiest way to manage your fear, you know, by having this backup plan. What if your business, say you are giving up everything for your business, maybe don't give up everything first, maybe just give up half of your time to do your business, and then if it doesn't work, you can always go back to your full-time job.
Right.
Or have other, you know, freelance, anything that you can. Maybe if you're a writer, you can be a freelance writer and sell your dropshipping business on the side.
Right.
Yeah, and then you just see which one is more profitable, you know?
I see.
Always have a plan B.
So in my experience, plan B, I have to,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we share the same belief in this area, because when I quit my job,
Yeah.
I actually burned all bridges. I told my boss, you don't have to write me a recommendation letter. I mean, like, but there's no right or wrong, right? But for me, that is a motivator. Knowing that I've burned all bridges, there's nowhere else to go. And that pushes me, you know, that the anxiety, the fear piles up. And that actually, I attribute a lot to that in terms of driving me to go above and beyond, to actually doing things that I normally wouldn't do.
I think because you're motivated by fear.
I think fear is one of the best motivators.
I think like not everybody is motivated by fear. There are some people that are just crippled by fear. So for those people who are crippled by fear, don't burn your bridges. I didn't burn my bridges. I was like, hey guys, sorry, you know, I might come back, but
you could have a backup plan like that, and I think that's a very good risk management strategy. But everyone's different, so I wanted to just show you.
And I think that is the keyword, right? Risk. Because I'm very risk adverse.
Right.
I think you are very.
I like risk.
I
like risk. It pushes me. It drives me.
And I think this is the one of the reasons also why you should have your own business, because then you can manage your risk.
Right.
Yeah. So that is the one thing that I'm like, if I have a bad day, I'm like, oh wow, I can't believe that I'm in charge of my own life. I can say I'm not gonna do this because it's too risky, as opposed to working with people and then you just have to follow what your boss say in terms of risk management.
I see.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've presented you two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, so you know you want to, you know, really know yourself first. Know your strengths. Know what motivates you, and then employ certain strategies to drive your hustle, to drive you, you know, in growing your hustle, for example. Yeah. So one more question.
Okay.
Right. Before we end the show, what kind of, you know, TV series do you watch? Yeah, totally random. I just want to know you a little bit better.
TV series. It depends on what I'm doing. If like, let's say I'm doing something really mundane, I tend to watch a lot of comedies. I love comedies, you know. I don't watch scary movies.
Why not though?
So I don't know. I think it's just preference. You're a very risky person, right? I think you watch a lot of scary movies.
Yes, I do. I love scary movies.
I love all of the, for sure, happy ending.
Happy ending, 100%.
100%.
Right, so you're the idealist. Right.
Yes. Yeah, so I watch 30 Rock. Right now I'm watching 30 Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's really funny, and for sure, happy ending.
Okay, do you check up on like Wikipedia to check out like what the ending is before you start watching?
Not really, I don't think I'm that crazy.
And then how do you guarantee a perfect happy ending then?
Well, I know, usually when it's funny, then for sure happy ending. Korean dramas, sometimes happy ending, sometimes it's not. So you can check reviews, whether the ending you'll be satisfied or not, but don't like spoil the show. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, that's the end of this show. I hope that having Evelyn on our show has inspired you guys to, either reconsider some of your life decisions. If you're still hanging on the fence, hopefully this episode has helped you, has inspired you to take action, right?
Yes.
Action that you've been deferring for the longest time. That's what this show is about. We want to show you that you can do it as well, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, for those of you, especially the international listeners, if you haven't heard of Wunderbath, definitely check them out on their website. It's wunderbath.co. Okay, I guarantee that you would find the products super interesting. They're all really, really cute and funny, right? And best of all, it's affordable and also beneficial to your body, okay? So definitely check them out if you're into bath. But Evelyn, do you want to just chip in? What sort of other products do you sell, just to give a better idea to our audience as well?
Yeah, so we have candles, bubble bars, we have sulfate-free bubble bars, soap, body lotion, body spray, lip balm, lip stain, basically everything, even room spray. So all of our products are vegan, handmade, paraben free and sulfate free. So even if you have the most sensitive skin, you can still use our products, and it's all fully customizable. Yeah, so if like, let's say you want your own soap that looks like a certain thing that you've always wanted, maybe a watch or something like that, we can do it as well.
Oh, so you guys do custom stuff as well, right? Interesting. Okay, thank you once again, Evelyn, for being on the Hustlr show. Right? I'll see you guys in the next episode, okay? Bye.
Bye.